We continue with the derivation of Cauchy's equation by considering infinitesimal control volume of a fluid. We sum up all the forces. Earlier we wrote down the x component of the forces that were taking place in a fluid motion. Then when we sum up all the forces in all directions, then we need to consider both body forces, surface forces, and of course the momentum forces that come with it. Gravity force, we have already mentioned, we have taken it into account, and the general case, we have to consider that it has three components, although most of the time it's in the vertical direction. So therefore, we generalize form. We write G as Gxi plus Gy in the j direction plus Gz k, where I, j, k are unit vectors in x, y, z direction. Thus, the x direction body forces are equal to this quantity, that is rho gx into dx by dy by dz. And I was saying that the gravity mostly is in the vertical direction as shown here, but in some cases, depending upon the geometry of the fluid motion, depending upon a particular situation, it may have a different variation and other components also playing role as well. For example, if we see here a small infinitesimal volume with dx, dy and dz faces of the cube, then you can see that it is little tilted, and therefore the gravity force, if it was vertical, it would be in this direction. But since it is tilted, it will have some component in this direction, which is parallel to z direction. It will have some component in the x direction, possibly so. And this generally does not happen, but in some cases there is a possibility. So for the sake of generalization, for the sake of consideration of a general situation, we need to consider this, that it exists. Then we come to the stress forces or the surface forces that are acting on all faces of the small cube or volume that we are considering in a fluid. All the forces are indicated as here, and they are taken to be linear approximation, as I have mentioned time and again. And the three dimensions of the cube are indicated here. So this will be origin, and this side is of course x. So these directions are shown to you. And when we put together, so the surface forces in x direction will be equal to this quantity, the net result. When we sum them up, you can see that some have negative coming up with them and the other side has the positive side because of the direction and the where their occurrence. And so some will cancel out, they will neutralize each other, and as a result we will be left with only this quantity when it comes to surface forces.